Let's take you for a moment into the Fox Sports lab, Rod Kafer, and the man currently rated the best referee in Australia.
Thanks very much, Nick. Yes, I'm joined by Angus, Gardner, and we're going to have a look at penalties, foul play, yellow and red card, and there's been a bit of that. Angus, great to have you here, and great to get an opportunity to look at some of the stats and perhaps the changes that we've seen over the last 3 years in the game. And if we have a look here first up, the total number of penalties, these are actually running at about 21 penalties per game because we've seen more games, Super 18. That's probably where the refs want to be at.
Yeah, that's generally at the average, what we try to deliver around that 21. That's the shape. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good. And the other, as we move on, the other sort of areas that get really interesting are probably the penalties for foul play. And we've seen a big increase, particularly this year, in the number of penalties for foul play, as you can see.
Yeah, look, there's certainly more awareness around foul play penalties, and that's certainly an area we're wanting to focus our attention on. The concussion issue is massive at the moment. We're wanting to make sure player welfare and safety is our top priority.
And when we have a look actually at cards, yellow and red cards, what we probably haven't seen is that big increase in the number of cards, and that was something that I was concerned about at the start of the year.
Yeah, and I think we were mindful when the tackle laws came in about there's no need to overreact here. It's about identifying if it is a high tackle, well, can we deal with it with a penalty, and then we just get on with it. So I think that's highlighted by those stats as well.
Well, one of the areas that I think we've heard a lot about recently has been this idea of players in the air and that contest for the ball. Now, as a rugby player, I want to see a contest for the ball. Every time that ball's available, I want to see it competed for. I love the idea of two guys going for the ball, but we've seen some penalties and obviously some yellow cards for that. We'll have a look at a little bit of vision. First one, here's you refereeing, thank goodness, and it's the Blues first round here, contest for the ball in the air. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think with this one, a really good example of a good contest in the air. Both players are in a realistic position to contest that ball. The Blues player just doesn't get it quite right. Rebels player takes the catch and we play on. So a good contest.
Good contest, and for what it's worth, mate, a good call. I think you got it right.
Thanks, mate, this week.
Yeah, that's right. There's always next week. Let's have a look at a couple of the other ones. Another one that got a little bit of press talk was the Dargaville incident here with Israel Dag. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, so one of the things we look at in these contests in the air is who's in the realistic position to contest. And we talk about heads and heads above or on the hip line. And here, Dargaville just doesn't get to the same height as Izzy Dag. Izzy Dag out-jumps him, so Dargaville therefore not in a realistic position to catch the ball. Runs through that area and puts Izzy at risk.
So happy that that's a yellow card?
Yeah, happy that's
a yellow card. I agreed at the time. I thought so as well. Last one here again, looking at the Crusaders. Another chase here where Malachi Fekitoa gets yellow carded as well. Player in the air, Havili and Fekitoa really not having a genuine attempt at the ball.
Yeah, look, in both these examples, they're consistent. Both were yellow cards, similar situations. Obviously, a lot of empathy for the players here. Nothing of malice in either of these examples. It's just that the player who's chasing, that kick chaser, just doesn't get it right. He just doesn't get up to the height to be a realistic contester for that ball, and therefore he needs to take more responsibility and needs to consider where he is.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that. Yeah. Gus, thanks very much for your time. Nick and the panel there, we've now got one for you guys to have a look at, and I'm sure there'll be a little bit of conjecture about this one.
Yeah, thanks, Kafer. It is an interesting one, the Nicholas Sanchez one against the Lions. Let's roll it and have a look. And you want to talk about realistic attempts. So this is the Nicholas Sanchez chip. Oh, now, it looks bad from that angle. Just keep an eye on, when we see the reverse angle, Nicholas Sanchez's eyes, which you will see initially looking at the ball. Then when he realises he gets it wrong, watch him transfer the attention to the player. This was penalised at the time, but no yellow card. Hoylesy, your thoughts?
Well, he's come off worse for wear. Like, I think guys that are going to have a genuine crack at the ball, you're putting yourself in that position. So it's a gutsy play, and for mine, as long as eyes are on the ball the whole time and there's no obstruction in between, that's when there's danger, is like there's guys blocking your last sort of line to the ball. So I'm happy for guys to have a crack at the ball in there. It's a tough part of the game. Like, AFL thrives on that. I think we can't take that out of the game. What do you think, Sakobi?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I mean, you know, like you see guys like Izzy and, they love going for the high balls and they know the risk that's involved. And I guess the intent from the opposition, if his eyes are on the ball as well, I mean, it's a fair battle.
To be fair, if you're going to go up, I wouldn't be taking you out underneath. I'll give you that. You know? Anyway, I'll stop saying. I'm going to get myself in trouble if I start talking about this and the referee's inability to interpret.
Well, and that comes back to referees, some of which have played the game, and it's certainly Glenn Jackson, for example. I think there's a consensus that maybe he gets more of those right than wrong. So, just for the record, Nicolas Sanchez was cited for that, and his hearing is later tonight. So, Kopi, congratulations on 100 Super Rugby games. You and Michael Hooper and Nick Phipps, the trio, bringing up the ton this weekend. Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.